Welcome to the conspiracy theory episode of the Big Boys Podcast. In this episode, we discuss the finer points of conspiracy theories, such as the moon landing, JFK, and the O.J. Simpson trial. More than meets the eye, or does it, on this episode of Big Boys.
Prepare to be mesmerized and or mortified.
Well, what's happening there?
Old Sorrel's here had himself from that.
You son of a...
Yeah, clever. Kind of soft and only like in one ear.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Look at those boys, ain't they?
Big Boys with Brian Hickey and John the Great.
Got it. I was just saying I bought a couple steaks, and while you were out, I went ahead and got some seasoning on some of them, because that way the seasoning can go ahead and be sitting on the meat for a while.
I see. So you're grilling as we're making a podcast.
I'm preparing to grill as we're making a podcast.
Well, that's good that you prep for something, in general, rather than, whereas I put so much thought into, having a visual background for our podcast setting where you want the audience to believe that you live in a blurred blob.
Look, man, I am the sole focus, man, and that's all they need to see is me.
I feel like this is going to lead to a much further discussion of...
You're darn right, ladies and gentlemen. I am the main focus, so,
Whose idea was it, once again, that we should have a video podcast? It's not enough that they just hear our voices.
Well, I think we both agreed on that.
Right,
having some video with it would be much better.
For sure. But if you're going to add the video element to the process, why not have it something that, is worthy of video?
Worthy of video, son. Right here. Head to toe.
That statement is
born
awesome.
that way, I'll die that way.
Once again, that statement is not totally accurate. We still don't know if you're wearing pants. And if you're seasoning steak, if you're seasoning steaks, listener and viewer, he most likely is not.
I don't know, man. You gotta. It's like a roulette wheel. I mean, what you're saying is there's some logic behind it. But at the same time, I did just get off work, bought a few groceries, got in, had to hurry up and get on this podcast.
So yeah, he definitely doesn't have pants on.
The world may never know.
The world may not know, but I, as a student of your behavior, as soon as you entered the phrase "just got off work," I know that means that the shoes and the pants did not make it past the hallway.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like it's a fire drill with like when I was living with you and Chris Taylor, like you guys just like basically kicked off your shoes to see how far you could kick them across the hall. And then like the pants is like as if they were going to catch on fire if you wore them for a second longer than you had to.
Shirt is usually the first thing that comes off, but I haven't figured out a way around that one yet for the podcast. No?
You haven't figured out how to blob that out too?
Yeah. Second, they make a blur feature for that. Yeah, we'll be. That'll all just raise the table up to here and then just be. Yeah.
Gonna be in my decked out background here talking to a fucking floating head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Hovering above the curtain, more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a nice topic for us to discuss today? Did you think of one?
Feel like I had one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be appropriate to divulge upon it now. If you
Well, I guess it's a topic we could also discuss, but it's also something that sometimes grinds my gears, and I guess I'm going to go with the medical realm again. Not that I want to run that down or anything. I'm not trying to run anyone down.
We'll find something later eventually, but to be honest, I'm in a grind my gears kind of mood. So hit me with what you got, Sorrels.
Well, me and a guy at work were talking, and he had gone through some health problems last year or whatever, or
Mhm.
maybe it's 2 years ago, whatever, within the last couple of years. And we were just talking about doctors and some things. And I find it so hard, like where sometimes it's hard to like get them to do stuff. Like if you're trying to figure out a problem or if you're not feeling well. And I think part of it is because America is so lawsuit happy. But it's like they're kind of afraid to do anything because they're understandably very scared of like malpractice lawsuits. But sometimes it feels like, especially as a portly gentleman, we'll call it. No, I understand. It would be very healthy to lose weight. I'm not trying to be one of these, deny the health complications that can kind of cause. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes it's just like, well, you need to lose weight. Just like case closed. Like they just closed the book on it. And it's like, but doctor, I have a headache. And it's like, what's I got to do with it? It's like I'd be fat and sick too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, maybe your head will ache less if there's less fat around it. I don't have a medical degree. We've discussed this before.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, I feel like that's obviously got to be a multitude of reasonings behind that. Yes, I'm sure everyone's afraid of getting sued for malpractice and all that. And some of them do have it coming. That's a whole another rant I'm going to say for another time. My dad's definitely going through some issues right now, and he just had to switch doctors because, the previous one sucked. And Karma's a bitch. I'm sure she'll bitch slap him eventually. But
I mean, that's true. Like anything, there are some people who suck at the profession,
Mhm. Yeah. But also, I was going to say that I think there's the distinction too, especially with America, is that it's the medical practices or a lot of the procedures and whatnot that go into it are dictated by what is covered and what is not covered by your insurance. And you know and that also gets navigated through what specialists you can use, you know whereas, like, I don't know, obviously, like, a headache is like something that you would think a general practitioner could help you with.
That was just an example. I was just trying to make a
Right.
point about how like they want to say, "Oh, you need to lose weight," and like it's not always.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just to continue with the example, even though, like, I have no other further examples to go off of, but, like, if you have a reoccurring, I don't know, I guess migraine. I don't know. Like, I assume there's gotta be like a head specialist for migraines or something like that, where it's just like, oh well, that's out of my general practitioner hands now, right?
Yeah.
Where you have to go to the um, brain pain guy.
Some of that, I swear, seems like a racket. It just seems like, well, let me send
You
you to
think?
this guy whom you can also pay money to. And I mean, don't get me wrong. The human body, the medical specialty is extremely broad. So I can understand where it'd be very difficult for one person to know everything. But sometimes I feel like even for other things, it's like, we'll send you to a specialist. It's like, you went to medical school too, right? Like, why do I have to go see another guy? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't.
this is
I'm
why.
sure there's like a boys club, a doctors club, especially in like within certain vicinities where they all kind of know each other and are like, oh man, I'll recommend patients to you if you recommend patients to me.
Dude, if there's like, there's a boys club in every industry, and you got to assume that if there's boys clubs, in industries that require significantly less education, you got
Yeah.
to think that the smart schmucks are doing it as well, And also, let's
Oh,
not
of
forget
course.
about the numerous documentaries and traumatized series that have time and time again shown that, oh hey, wouldn't you know it, insurance companies are taking us for a ride.
Yeah,
You know?
insurance companies and big pharma companies, I would say,
Yeah, there we
they
go.
are
Thank you.
massively causing a lot of problems. And honestly, there's very ethical gray areas there. That's something else we were talking about like these pharmaceutical reps will come in and really schmooze these doctors, and they're like buying the whole office like fucking Starbucks and
Hmm.
whatever.
And I could be mistaken. As once again, I'm not a a guy who looks things up or checks what he says. So a moron, in other words. But I do believe that I've heard, there are certain like bonuses as well for like if you recommend X number of
Oh,
people to
I mean, pharmaceutical sales, it is sales. Like
Mhm.
there's gonna be, I don't know if it's straight commission, but I'm sure there's gotta be rewards for selling. There's gotta be some sort of incentive.
But
Like,
not just for like the as it were pharmaceutical salesman, but is there not some things going on that with your doctor as well if he recommends X, Y, and Z drug to so many patients, does he get a kickback as well, or is that just something that's been dramatized?
I'm
I feel like
sure
it's a
he
thing.
may, I mean, he may get some sort of incentive from the pharmaceutical company
That's what I'm
to
saying.
recommend their drug. But once again, that traces back to them. Like they're kind of the head of the snake, if you will, you know?
Yeah, I know, and it's still what I'm saying is it's fucked up, but then it's like I don't know. Maybe it's just we live in a world of there's too many people like me who are just like, man, that's fucked up, and then just kind of go about their lives and nothing changes.
I think that's a lot of us in society nowadays. Cause
Hmm.
I mean, just talk to your fellow man a lot of times. Like most people can agree that a lot of things are messed up. Now I think where a lot of disagreement happens is what do we do about that? But most anybody will say like the medical system in this country, and I don't want this to become super political, and I just kind of
No, no,
started
no.
this thing, but I think most people would agree that there's room for improvement. It's just
Yeah,
what are those improvements? I think is where the disagreements are.
I feel like that honestly, and not to get too political, but I feel like that's a lot of the issues with our current, political system right now. Is that like that's probably the one of the few issues that like Americans across the board can agree that like yeah, that's pretty messed up. But then it's like the conversation always because it's very quick. There's not really much argument on either side, and so it's just like yeah, that is pretty messed up. Well, I got to work
Yeah,
because
exactly.
otherwise I can't pay for me slowly dying.
Yeah, but so back to the original thing before we kind of delve into the whole
Yeah, before
and
we
all
just start
that,
anarchy up
go
in
too
this
far off the
bitch.
deep end. But
Yeah, set fire to this whole fucking place.
yeah, but
Burn
it's
it
also
down.
like
Burn it down. Sorry, you
to
were saying.
switch sides briefly. Now, then again, I've heard people saying I don't quite fully understand this, but generally, as long as you're upright and breathing and talking, it's like they kind of want to get you out of there as soon as possible. And I guess there's part of a theory of like the more they test for and dig into and all that stuff, the more stuff they're probably going to find. And and they may create other problems trying to treat maybe something else they find that really wasn't causing that many problems in the first place. And I guess these amplify as you get older, but you might have been
Is the
have some
argument
underlying issue that you don't even notice and until maybe you start to get middle aged, and then when it starts, oh yeah, doc, I feel like my heart's about to beat out of my chest, and it's like, oh, we should probably look into that, and then find out, oh, you've got an underlying condition, we should do something about that. But
so up until that point though, is your argument for the big pharma and the insurance companies and whatever the doctors that are getting kickbacks, your argument for them is that if they look into too much stuff, if they do too much, looking into the goodness of your health, that they're just going to create a bunch of hypochondriacs. Is that what we're saying?
no, not exactly. I'm not really arguing for like big pharma or anything like that. I'm just
Mhm.
talking about doctors in general, not the business, not
You
any
heard
of
it here,
that.
ladies and gentlemen. He's not
Yeah,
arguing because he's getting those kickbacks. How do you
yeah,
think this
yeah,
man
exactly.
affords such a pricey blob filter?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
not just a free setting that anyone can throw
yeah.
on.
Just got back from work and you're making steaks, was it?
Hey, I'm off work tomorrow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I I know what job you just came from where you where you're not wearing pants.
Yeah.
This man can't just be walking in just willy nilly with steaks.
Hey. Every now and then I can use my money unwisely. Like that's fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you can with those kickbacks you're getting.
And that's what I tell them. I go, whenever I get their blood money, I say, "This is my steak fund. This is going into my steak fund."
Mr. Strolls, we really, really wish you would invest in some pants. No.
Yeah.
Blood money for bloody steaks.
What's funny, you say that, is there's guys at work that have been saying something similar, not because I'm not wearing pants, but because I've been wearing, but because I've been wearing the same pair of pants. I don't know, few months back, we had a massive paint spill at work that I somehow got roped into helping clean up. And so I got paint on my pants.
And everyone knows it. Everyone knows you did.
and everyone can tell these are the same pants because it has the same paint on them. And it's like, no sense replacing them. They're still good pants. They're relatively new. Matter of fact, some people pay extra for that kind of thing. So the way I look at it is, you just increased the value of my pants. Thanks.
Absolutely. If you invent a time machine and go back to Old Navy in 2003, that's a marked up pair of pants right there.
Yeah, exactly. Now the holes and all that, I'll wear those in myself.
I mean, I think it's argued that you also wore the paint in yourself.
That's true. That's what I was saying. See, I start with the blank slate. I don't need to buy pre messed up pants.
Dude, I hear you, man.
That's where the money's at. Buy the blank slate, let them get messed up, and then sell them at a premium as designer britches. That's the way to go.
That's our niche market. It's what should we call this? Just lived in britches.
Yeah, that's there we go. There's the business right there. Lived in britches.
Mm-hmm.
By us for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, these are real stretchy waistband. What is it, elastic? No. Just
it was.
Yeah, just a man over time, just wore them everywhere.
Yeah.
Originally, the paints weren't part of the design, but we just went with the flow. You
know what? But some were saying that. Like I wore them with over at Chris and Hannah's a while back, and they were like, "Yeah, it actually kind of looks cool." Like, and I was like,
Yeah, I used to of the time, which I guess it's still kind of a thing now. It's like I feel like we're in like the post modern era of style. Like, there's no new even the new hip styles are just like amalgamation of like past styles that are put together. So like,
I mean, style goes into like
not
cycles.
We're not the fucking trendiest people, on the planet, or certainly on the internet. I'm not arguing that, but I will notice that like jeans, right? Like it's just now they're still just as cut up and shredded or whatever, But like I remember that was like a huge thing, when we were in high school or whatever.
Yeah,
I just had a pair of pants that like I was just my consistent, pants to working in my dad's shop, and like those got like really tattered or whatever, and I really was like, man, those look pretty cool. So you get like right up, and you could just tell they're like, oh, that's not designer. That is it's a poor kid's pants.
Yeah, those are just old.
Yeah.
Some of that style, it doesn't make it, but I mean, it always goes in cycles like that. You remember, this was more like around middle school and stuff, but like when like all the like the bell bottoms, the hip hugger pants for girls were real popular. That was straight up just like 70s fashion that was like coming back.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah.
I remember my parents talking about that, and they were like, man, those were popular when I was in high school. And then here they are again. You're kind of seeing them coming back again, the bell bottoms again. Although, again, this is another cycle I've noticed with women's fashion, like girls wearing like baggier fit pants instead of tighter fit. And that's something else that's like, I'm pretty sure it was like 90s fashion that's come back into style.
Well, again, I think it also might just be us being old men now, but I feel like it's like, what I mean, like by an amalgamation of styles, like it's like there's no one set style. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everyone's wearing everything now. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like the 80s all over again, where you could get away with anything. Yeah,
pretty much, man. I mean, like, you think about like the last new trend, I guess, to invent stuff. I guess, well, I don't know, skinny jeans an invention, I guess, but
they were popular for a while. They might. I don't know. I don't know what's popular.
I feel like those are just as ridiculous as like Jinkos, though, where it's just like absurd. Where like either you show no shoe or all shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were not popular at the same time, though. The skinny jeans came around. Yeah. But yeah, it was like it went from one extreme to the other.
But I'm just trying. Yeah, like that's all I think of, like a new version of a pant. Like that was really all that was left there.
That's something else I have to say that I've seems to be with both men's and women's fashion now is everything is like super fitted. It's like, especially pants, for example. It's like, oh, God forbid the pants touch your shoe. It's like, I've noticed that's probably everybody wear like shorter pants and, and everything's like ultra fitted. So it's like, heaven forbid, especially again, as the portly gentleman myself, not only am I portly, but I'm built like a weenie dog. I'm all waist. So yeah, I've got these short little legs. So sometimes finding stuff that fits properly is not that easy. But I mean, I guess things have always kind of been that way. They're made for averages. They're made for
Yeah. Whereas you're built like a weenie dog, all waist. I feel like I'm built like the slender man, just like no waist at all.
Brian, on a bell curve, you were like straight center. It's like you should be able to find anything that fits. Like
oh man,
they should use you for like motion capture and stuff. We got a motion capture suit. Put it on Brian. It'll probably fit him. Like
Well, fingers crossed. Well, they have in the past, and hopefully
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hopefully they will again. You're listening out there, video game audition that I just submitted. But yeah, man, styles. Who can keep up with them?
Me neither, and I've never really cared that much. I could probably stand to care a little bit more. I have I had 2 work shirts, but the other one got paint on it, and so I guess I could still wear it, but that's a little much. Paint on the pants, paint on the. Even I have some sort of line, I guess. Yeah. So usually I just wear this same work shirt and then wash it every couple days.
You could have lied.
Yeah.
You could have just said every day.
I think they would know. Like that's a little much.
It just hit me. That was your lie. Every couple. Yeah. Okay. My bad. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm reading you. Yeah. Every couple of days you wash that.
Yeah. Like, every week.
Mm-hmm. There are 7 days in a week.
Yeah. So there you go.
Sometimes, there's 14 days. Every
I should say every few days. That's a little more open-ended. A few could be as little as 2. It could be more.
I always thought it was 3.
Technically, I think few can be as little as 2.
Why would they use the word few if you can say a couple?
You could.
Yeah.
But like a definition here is a small number of, or it says used to emphasize how small a number is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Look, how many is a few? Let's see. How many is a few?
When it's
while many would agree that a few means 3 or more, the dictionary definition is not many but more than 1. So few cannot be 1, but it can be as low as 2.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a spot-on definition of a generic term.
Well, I'm just saying. You posed the question. I sought out an answer. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. A few could be as low as 2.
Yeah, we may not be able to tackle big pharma or insurance or the medical problems in the U.S. or fashion.
Yeah,
but by golly, God damn it! As sure as Jinko jeans will go over your shoe, we'll figure out just how much is a few.
See, yeah, that's it. We will find out dictionary definitions that we could easily look up, ladies and gentlemen. Like we will get to the bottom of it.
I told you that without looking it up.
Well, then why didn't you? Because we were talking about it, but you pressed me to look it up, and here we are.
Because I, sir, am a gentleman, and I let you finish your thought before interrupting you. And also, we need content, so
Yeah.
Just look up as many views as you need.
Yeah. Now the question then is, what leaves with several?
More than a few.
See, that's what I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
More than 2, but not many. So I guess several would have to be at least 3.
Fucking riveting content.
Ladies, we now know how much 1 is, but we also know how much a few or a couple, a few, and several. So now next time you're anywhere Maybe you're at a cookout and the guy's like, "Hey, grab me a few of them jalapeno poppers or whatever."
Tell you
Y'all
what.
have an idea.
Let's just cover all the bases. All right.
Yeah.
Let's just make sure that we're really thoroughly educating our audience. Why don't you go ahead and look up how much one is?
I mean, sure. Well, let's be thorough. Let's be thorough.
Exactly.
How many is one? Well, it brought up a pluribus unum out of many one. So maybe we've gone full circle here. It's like, okay, two, one, many. Because it's a circle. Yeah.
Wow.
One from many. We're going very Three Musketeers here.
But then if one is many and that's the saying of the Three Musketeers, does that make one three?
Well, technically, the saying of the Three Musketeers was all for one and one for all.
But there was three of them.
There was three.
And there
so
was
each one,
two versions of that movie.
So each one, you got to think of it, it's kind of like the Power Rangers where they like came together to form the droid or whatever.
I think what
it'd be like each one is separate.
If it's not the Power Rangers, I think the larger conspiracy is we just found ourselves into Jim Carrey's the number 23.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, except it's just three and we're still confused.
No. Hear me out. All for one, one for all is said by the Three Musketeers, but there's two movies made called the Three Musketeers. 2 and 3 is 23.
Wasn't there one called just The Musketeer?
I don't fucking know. That doesn't help my conspiracy theory here, though.
Oh, it was. It was in 2001. It had Tim Roth.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I can still kind of see the trailer in my head. I remember when that came out. It looked cool.
Just The Musketeer.
Just The Musketeer and yeah, Mena Suvari.
Okay.
Stephen Rea. Yeah. Justin Chambers. He looks familiar.
These are all names for sure.
They are. They were names that were in this film.
But 3 + 1 equals, I don't know. It just cracks me up thinking about like that movie and the number 23, not the Three Musketeers, but like the whole point of that conspiracy is just like, yeah, that's how math works. You can subtract, add, divide, and you can find your way to a number.
Yeah, in general. Yeah. Don't forget square roots, all that kind of stuff. And once you start throwing in,
see, it's easy for me to forget them when I never learned them in the first place.
Yeah. See, work smarter, not harder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the stock market crashes behind me. I'm just like,
hey, you just see,
yeah,
just going downhill. I think there was something one time about there being a fourth musketeer.
Well, technically, that is the story of the Three Musketeers, John. It's the fourth musketeer. D'Artagnan joins up with the other three musketeers. Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, and Charlie Sheen, as we all know from the ancient lore.
Oh, man, now you're making that movie come back to me. I forgot about that with them in there. When you said Oliver Platt, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Just saying it out loud, it's like, I kind of want to watch it again just because, like, man, that is a wild cast. You know what I mean?
Well, apparently they did a movie last year, The Fourth Musketeer.
Well, but not with Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Oliver Unfortunately Platt. Not. No Oliver Platt, no Charlie Sheen. None of that. That's unfortunate.
I mean, that cast sounds like a fucking Mad Libs reading, does it not?
Yeah. Just fill it in.
Wait, so who was the actual who was D'Artagnan? Do we remember? Because those guys were the Musketeers.
Oh, Tim Curry was in that too. Now that's Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch this.
Yes,
I gotta go back and watch this. And that was before he was Robin too.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because he was Robin in the 90s in
Batman
I think it was Batman Returns and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I just assumed that's what, kind of made his career in the 90s. But once again, not a guy who looks things up. But yeah, okay. Well, good for him being old Darty boy before being old Robbie man. You know? And I totally forgot that Tim Curry was in that movie too. That's another reason to watch it because he is.
Yeah,
quite the delight.
D'Artagnan does because he heads to Paris to join the Musketeers, but the evil cardinal has disbanded them. Save 3. He meets the 3, Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, and joins them on their quest to save the king and country.
Yes, the 3 Musketeers, aka nepotism, and raw talent.
Yeah. Alexander Dumas was the original author.
Guy sounds like a real dumbass.
Yeah,
Right?
he wrote that among some other works. Oh, the Count of Monte Cristo. Crisco. There we go. Now that's a parody. The Count of Monte Cristo. He just got like a huge tub of cooking grease. Oh man, he also did The Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah, man. Like any story that has your protagonist wearing a big hat in the medieval times. Is it medieval? It might be inaccurate. But my point being is that it was his era of writing.
Yeah, I that's not medieval. I'm trying to think what it is.
No, like 16th century, maybe 17th.
Yeah, that's about the years. But what would that be considered? It's not.
I don't know, because first of all, it doesn't take place in America, so these are French stories, are they not?
Yeah, 17th century. Yeah.
Which, man, that does Charlie Sheen know how to pull off a French accent or what? I mean,
Well, they was
they're all
published in
doing it.
1844, so that's 19th century. But obviously, it was set during the 17th.
Yeah, I was going to say, like all of his stories were.
But so, what is the 17th century considered? I guess is my point.
To the internet.
That's what I'm doing. Is 17th century medieval?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it is medieval period, 16th and 17th centuries. So they are set in medieval times. You were correct.
I'm fucking smart.
Yeah, see, and you didn't even need to look it up.
I'm just like, I got like cells in my brain, and they're just like functioning,
working.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, take that, school teachers who said I wouldn't remember anything. Can't remember your name. What are you sipping on there? Some lean?
No, I got some water with fiber in it. I'm trying to increase my fiber intake.
It's like the saddest drink combo I've heard in a while.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little sludgy. I'll probably have to add some more water once we get off here.
We talking some what kind of fiber are you working with there, player? We talking some Metamucil?
Yeah, I got some Metamucil today. I've been researching it some. I started with another one that I got online. It was Garden of Life, and I liked it because I got one that had probiotics and one that had prebiotics, which is excellent for gut health. But the fiber wasn't having the effect that I wanted. And I found out what I really want was psyllium husk fiber, and it didn't have that. So I got some psyllium husk fiber, and now I made a concoction of all 3 of them together.
Oh, you got yourself a little fiber cocktail, huh?
Yeah, and so I need to find something that's easier and cheaper to going forward, but that'll get me by for now.
Yeah, but you can't go too cheap because obviously you want something that pairs well with your steak.
Yeah. Well, the plan is to drink this before I eat the steak, and that's another thing. Try to do things like lower cholesterol. Not only is fiber a great thing for a number of things in the body, but it can do things like it's very satiating. So you feel full longer. So hopefully eat a little bit less, which could also maybe help me not be so portly.
Mm-hmm.
It can also do things like help it bind to the cholesterol in your gut. So it's passed through. So it can help lower your cholesterol, lower blood sugar for anyone that has blood sugar problems,
When did you start learning things?
I pick things up here and there occasionally. Sometimes I go down rabbit holes, especially if I can find an easier way to get healthier, where I'll be like, oh, I don't actually have to work. I just have to drink that. And Now I know
no,
it's not as easy as that. There's no magic, but hey, every little bit helps.
I gotta say, I'm impressed. The Sorrels, well, I've known you long time and plenty long since we lived together. But this is not the cool cat that I'm used to seeing. It's usually washing down some pizza or burgers with a pint of whiskey. And
Yeah, I still enjoy a good drink from time to time. I'm
oh, I
trying
know
to
it. Yeah,
trying to cut back a little bit.
yeah. And hey, kudos to you, man.
Yeah,
It's yeah. Some of us are not in situations where we can do that, and I judge not others who do, especially if they're taking steps to fully satiate themselves
yeah,
with a Molotov cocktail for their bowel movements.
yeah. See, that's another thing too. I figure if I could just, dude, dropping weight on the toilet, that's a way to do it. Get you cleaned out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm not. I'm not. Once again, not a doctor
Yeah.
or a holistic person of any sorts. But like, I gotta wonder if there's health risk if that is strictly the only way that you go about losing weight.
Well,
Like where it's just from cleansing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's got to be
it probably wouldn't be good if you just did that and didn't eat for extended periods of time.
right.
Intermittent fasting can actually be quite healthy. But
All right, Joel. You don't have
yeah.
to get on me about that,
Oh, is he talking about that too?
dude. Yeah, insane, man. I didn't eat for like what is it, like 4 days? I was like, "Are you nuts? What did you?"
That's a little long for an intermittent fast. Usually
Oh, right,
intermittent.
right.
Yeah, that's like
Well, he said it helped him get over like some cold or something he had. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, what did you do? Just lay still for 4 days? Like, I couldn't,
yeah.
But again, I guess he was sick, and who knows? Maybe he drank some chicken broth. I don't know how that. Again, not a holistic guy. I don't know.
Technically, for it to be a fast, I think you have to not consume calories.
Right. So what? Water.
So
But
if
if you
you
have
drink
like water, right? That's
water, black coffee, you might be able to do tea. I'm not sure.
oof.
Yeah.
No food and just black coffee.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. It's moving on to a different topic that gets that picture out of my head. Um. Nope. Still there. Still there. What else you got, Johnny?
Well, possibly tea, like I said, or
Yeah.
yeah.
So are we cooking these steaks like are we prepping them for like a week's worth of meals or what's the plan here?
Well, I'm obviously going to eat them all tonight, but yeah, I'll probably get a couple meals out of them. I don't know
Yeah.
about, well, divide them up. I could probably
Wait, are you doing
get 4 or 5 meals out of them, because I got a bunch of sides and stuff too. So
now I'm usually not one to protest, especially because I do very little cooking myself, but are you gonna cook these with the air fryer? You gonna cook a
no,
steak? Okay, I was gonna say, man, like that should be a crime.
I've heard of people doing it, but no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to pan sear them.
I'm gonna say you're already at strike one because I'm pretty sure you do like well done, don't you?
No,
Do you
I have
not?
never done that.
What do you do? Medium well?
Medium rare.
You're a medium rare man?
Yeah, I'm more of like actually slightly under medium rare. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that idea
I
from.
don't know. Maybe I'm thinking Chris Taylor, maybe.
He's kind of a medium, but yeah,
Who the fuck is eating well done steaks that I know?
I don't
Because
know.
usually,
Obviously, they're not worth remembering.
I was going to say, but I distinctly, remember giving someone a very smug look. You know,
Wasn't me.
Hmm.
No, I have never been that kind of a steak person.
Was it Summers?
No, he's a medium rare guy too. That's what I would say. Whenever we
Yeah.
grilled steaks over there, I figured you would remember that none of us ate our steaks that way.
You know what it was? It's we probably all just, agreed, as a group of friends that person is, no longer part of our gang.
That's
Killed
what I
him
was saying. Obviously, they're
together
not
as a
worth
tribe.
remembering.
Yeah. Killed
I
them
mean, I
together
feel
as a
like
tribe,
okay,
buried him, and then collectively did an MIB situation where we all just
it's all acceptable up till about medium, and then I feel like once you hit medium, it's kind of like I wouldn't order it, but every now and then, we're not perfect. Every now and then, you maybe if you get one that you overcook just a touch, as long as you prepared it, seasoned it right, and everything, medium's still okay. It's salvageable. But then once you go past that, it's just
Why don't you just get an overpriced tough burger?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's you medium and above steak eaters.
See,
shame on you. Shame.
Rare to me, I'll eat rare, but to me, you get a different consistency in the meat when it's rare. It's a little chewier. It's a little kind of like rubberier, I guess, for lack of a better word, or maybe a little stringier, I guess I should say. So I think the texture of the meat's better once you hit medium rare.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, what I like best is what I call kind of like a rare plus. It's kind of in between. It's like more than rare, but it might be like a little underdone for medium rare.
A rare plus, huh?
That's what I call it. But yeah.
We just came up with our new steak streaming service.
Dang it. I'm using my phone to record this podcast that you are watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a whole chart somebody made. They filled in every gap in between. They were like, so there's like raw and then obviously like burned, and they filled everything else in where it was like rare and then it was like unique. Medium, And they filled in like every step of the way.
Nice.
I'll send it to you later.
All right, I'll look forward to it. Oh man, dude, I still gotta get it back on that chat GBT link you sent me, man. I still haven't tried that out.
Yeah.
The plugin. Have you tried it? Did you?
Oh no, I haven't. The plugin that we were talking about, no, I haven't.
Yeah, gotta give that a whirl, man. I just for shits and gigs, because I didn't know if we were gonna have anything to talk about today. I typed in like, okay, chat GBT, please, because once it becomes our overlords, remember that I was nice to it. Please inform me of what the most popular conspiracy theory is. And then it said that, while something about it being a computer and not having the ability to decipher what popularity is. But anyways, it just said it conceded that the moon landing fake was the most popular conspiracy theory. Which is, if we want to talk about that, I guess we can.
Yeah, man, I need to surrender because I feel like there was some other conspiracy theory I was going to bring up. I thought of a little bit ago, and I cannot remember what it is. So we'll start with the moon landing.
I say it's I'm too dumb to argue the point of it being fake, so I'm gonna say it's real.
Well, then this is going to be a short conversation because I also think it's real. I mean, I guess I could play devil's advocate if we want and just,
Yeah, but I think it's more real. So take that.
Brian thinks it's more real than me. Yeah. Okay. So for that sake, it's like I feel like they just like flew by the moon and we're like, there it is, and then it's kind of like how Steven used to be when we go places, and then he'd immediately want to leave. It was like he just wanted to get there enough so he could say he went, and then that's
just
how
wanted to stop by so you could come back to his house and watch him sleep.
Yeah. Every now and then I think about that, and it makes me laugh still to this day.
Just shows up, just whatever. Like, oh man, I'm tired. You guys can come over.
But you guys come over and like,
what do you do? Watch you sleep?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's saying a lot too, man. Because like you were definitely a homebody, but like he takes the cake as far as
I think it was just he wanted us to go to his house, and he didn't have a good way to segue to.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like we're all.
Which I don't know why you couldn't have just said like, I feel like going home. Would you guys like to come hang out at my place?
Yeah.
I don't know why I had to come up with an excuse to go home, but
because that's way funnier.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he was trying to be funny.
No, I know. That's always when that's hands down. He's always been the funniest. Not that I don't think he's got a sense of humor in his own right, but like I think we could both agree. Like that's probably the times we've laughed the hardest is when he was.
When it's unintentional, that's always the funniest. Yeah.
That's arguable for just about everybody.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. Everybody, like, the funniest stuff you do is the stuff that's like genuine.
Oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna go home.
So you guys can come hang out. Like, yeah.
What are
Read
you
you a
talking-
bedtime story.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my blanket and my teddy. You guys can kick it.
Yeah. Like, then imagine his parents getting up and like, "Where's Steven? Oh, he's asleep." We're still just like,
Yeah.
"Why are you in our house?" Like,
He insisted we come hang out.
yeah, he says we come hang
Yeah.
out. Like,
Take
yeah.
it up with your son.
Yeah. Then he'd be like, "Why'd you wake me up?" Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, back to the moon landing.
yeah.
So,
You got a valid point here, do you? You have a valid counterpoint?
no. Some people say there's something with a footprint though that doesn't match. I guess it's something like when you see the photograph of like that one of their footprints on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, it doesn't match the suit that's like in the museum. I guess in the suit in the museum, there's like a heel on the shoe, but this is like a flat footprint. It doesn't seem to show one that has a raised heel, like a boot. And so there's something about that.
I mean,
I don't know.
well, here's the issue with that. Like anything that like they're like, well, any issue that's raised like that, we're like, well, none of us, no one else has been on the surface of the moon, so we can't, you can't prove that, but you can't disprove that.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Well, I have no idea like what kind of print my boot would leave on the moon
Yeah,
versus,
and completely different, like
Yeah.
zero gravity and
yeah, versus, sand or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, and that's also a very good thing. That's basically how most of these. Well, I don't want to say most because some conspiracy theories do have some substantial evidence, or at least something that's enough to raise questions. But yeah, so much of this stuff is like, yeah, but you can't prove it's not true.
Mm-hmm. You can't prove I didn't waste all my time.
Yeah, or vice versa, whatever you're trying to
Yeah.
argue, but you can't prove it is true. I guess in this case, you can't prove it is though on the moon. Like, okay, all right. I guess if that's what we're arguing, like,
Yeah. So
it's like trying to prove the wind exists. It's like,
yeah.
I guess you could just have me go out and feel it, but I guess if you're trying to prove it on paper, like, I don't know. I'm sure somebody can prove it on paper and very scientific stuff that I'm not going to bother looking up right now.
Yeah. So take that, moon landing. We made
Yeah.
you. Now
We
everyone-
decided that we can't prove that you happened, nor didn't happen.
so
so-
therefore we can't be proved wrong.
So now it's more like moon landing asterisk. Like, if you look at the bottom of the asterisk, it's like these statements have not been evaluated by the United States government. Look,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And regardless if they have or not, Buzz Aldrin will come punch you in the face.
yeah.
Oh man. Oh Buzzy Buzz.
Oh, Buzz, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's where they got the name for Buzz Lightyear.
You think? I would think so.
Mhm.
A pretty small world, right? So not that many astronauts in history.
There's certainly not many that have been to the moon.
Even fewer, for sure. But still, not a lot of astronauts.
So here's another one. As long as we're on conspiracy theories, I just looked up a few, and here's one I don't know much about. I'm not going to read much more
Mhm.
until we have a reason to. Because I'm going to start clean here. But there's one that goes around I've heard before is Princess Diana's death was not an accident. I guess that
Mm.
she was targeted, or I guess it's like an inside job. Basically, I guess the royal family or the English government, whomever it was, I guess she was targeted.
I've heard whisper of this conspiracy theory, but I haven't really heard
Yeah.
too much detail. Like which specific member of the royal family are they?
Well,
saying
let's
is
see.
afoot.
Well, it says it was 1 year after her divorce from Prince Charles, so I'm sure that's a factor.
Mm.
It says, but the crux of most Diana-related theories is this. Car accident that killed her was not an accident. At the time of her death, she was dating Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian film producer who died in the limo alongside her, who was supposedly planning to propose to Diana the night of the accident. In a court witness statement, Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, said they were killed because the monarchy couldn't stand the thought of Diana and Prince Charles' sons, heirs to the British throne, having a stepfather who was Egyptian and Muslim. Dodi's father also claimed Diana was pregnant at the time of the crash, though the coroner who examined Diana said she was not. But then again, the coroner could have easily been bought off or intimidated by if the royal family, who holds a lot of power, did in fact do this.
Now, see, this is again, it's a man who poses a lot of questions, but doesn't no investigation into any of them. My concern here is like, have those statements that they're claiming have been by the father, have those been evaluated to be real? Or is that just someone, a conspiracy theory saying, like, oh no, he definitely said this?
Wait, who said what?
The Dodi's father.
Oh,
Yeah.
that he said he thought that?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because to me, that seems like that would make, because if that's a, a man of high status, from another political regime, if you will, I feel like that would also have made news, would it not have?
Yeah, let's see.
Suspicion.
Trying to think of how to word it a Google search for that.
You just type in Dodi's daddy blaming monarchy.
I guess so. It says he became a vocal proponent of the theory that the British royal family was somehow involved. So I guess he really does believe that. Stating that they were motivated by the desire to cover up that Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child at the time of her death, and that the two had intended to announce their plans to marry. My question, though, is why kill her? If she didn't want him to be with someone like that for whatever, political or racial reasons, why not just kill him?
Right. Yeah. Why muddy the waters further?
Of course, I guess she divorced Prince Charles.
Mm-hmm.
So she was technically
You think this
she was not directly part of the royal family anymore. She was only still attached in that her now ex-husband Charles' sons she was the mother of. So obviously they're heirs to the throne because they're his children.
Right.
So I guess technically, if you really wanted to be callous about it, which I guess if you're planning to kill people, you've obviously got compromised morals. I guess you could be like, she's not needed. Go ahead and whack her while we're at it,
I like the idea that the royal family is talking like the members of the Sopranos cast.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And
go ahead and take care of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, it seems to me it'd make more sense just to kill him. Now, if she was in fact already pregnant with his child, they may not have wanted that to come to fruition, like you said. But at the same time, it seems there's other things they could have done to and it all just sounds so terrible even talking about it out loud. But
I was gonna say,
to like cause a miscarriage or something,
Yeah, it all sounds awful. And also just pointless, kinda. Because if she's already not associated with, like, her only ties to the royal family is her, her kids with Charles, like her kid with this guy with Dodi.
Dude would have no tie to the crown. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. Then again, it's only a conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
So I mean, we're just.
Well, I think this is how we're gonna get new listeners. Conspiracy theories out there listening, watching. Please subscribe. We think you're fucking stupid.
Well, and also weigh in, hey, convince me. This is kind of, the Stephen Crowder meme. It's like, change my mind. Hey, convince me. I'm all ears.
That guy gets followers,
Yeah. Hey,
most of them hate him.
So. And again, regarding this one too, I'm not going to sit here. Like, I don't know enough. I'm not going to say no. I mean, I'm also not going to say I believe it either, but I'm not going to
Mhm.
just sit here and be like, oh, that didn't happen. And like, that's the hill I'm going to die on. So that's what I'm saying. I'm all ears, changing my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then through third party of you rifling through all this bonkers stuff that hopefully, fingers crossed, people will write in going, woohoo, woohoo. We'll discuss it on here. And
Yeah, it's like the Charlie Day meme where he's like on the board, like
Yeah.
like all crazed and like
yeah, but I'm not going to read it directly.
Yeah.
That is for you to do. Which hey, that's more up your alley. As you are the one to Google things on this show. So you know,
Oh, and here's one that we all know and like to laugh at. The Earth is actually flat. That's one that's
yeah.
surprisingly gotten a little bit of popularity. I feel like a lot of that's ironic though. Like it's funny to talk about, but how many people really believe that? Like,
Well, I don't know if you're gonna like going down this rabbit hole as much as you
yeah,
think, because the people that are really, really serious about it, but actually, you know what? I'll say this. Actually, let me correct that statement. There are some people because it divulges off into different sects, so there are probably other ones that like are really serious about believing it and for totally different reasons. But I've found in like some one documentaries when that's it kind of came up of like why is this a thing but a good chunk of them try to make it into form it into like a biblical story, so
all right. I mean, even though you've got, I saw an old video with Carl Sagan. I think it was Carl Sagan, and he was talking about
yeah
how like one of the ancient Greeks like proved the world was round, and it was literally like by monitoring the shadow. He had one here. It was like a tall tower, an obelisk or something in one city and one elsewhere, and he was able to like
yeah
obviously through word of people there and whatever monitor like I think it was something to do with the shadows, and he was also able to figure out that like oh if the world was flat, you should be able to
hmm
see that or whatever. I don't remember exactly what Oh, it was the length of the shadow. That's what it was.
yeah
Because, obviously as it curves and the light hits it, they cast shadows of different lengths at different times as the sun's level changes. But if they were on a flat surface, the shadows would have been the same length at the same time, and they weren't.
well to put it into the words of our eighth grade health teacher Coach Cox, there's just a good chunk of people out there who believe it to be a bunch of bullcorn.
Yeah, there you go. I hope you're listening, Coach Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do some push-ups for that joke.
Two of
Yeah.
your former students
Yeah.
right here. Yeah.
Oh man.
I wonder if he still works at the school there.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That would be cool if both the Coxes worked there.
Dude, I don't know about older Cox. Like, I mean, I don't feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't want to think about. I hope older Cox is still alive. I'm
Yeah,
thinking. He was a kooky character, that Cox.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
finger.
the arthritis. Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh man, Jesus, buddy, we went off the rails this time. But hey, that's our
Did
show. That's what we do, dude.
this is a show to go off the rails. Yeah,
hmm
and we wanted to talk about conspiracy theories, so we were.
Yeah, we're bringing it to the next level.
Not unrelated to the Princess Diana one. There's also the popular one that the CIA was behind JFK. That one, again, I'm not going to sit here and double down and say I believe it, but that I mean, again, I'm a little more inclined to believe that one. I mean, there was
Yeah, it's just another one of those. Like, I feel like some people have like posed some interesting theories, but again, not like a guy who knows things, like where they're like, well, a bullet
there
would do
is
this or that or whatever. But then, like, of course, there's other people that are like, no, a bullet would do that. And it's like, well, unless
yeah.
I like take the time to thoroughly educate myself, like,
That's the problem with some of that
yeah,
stuff, though. Too is like I feel like if they get convincing enough people up there, they could always be
right,
like, "Oh, this could theoretically." It's like, but dude,
yeah,
that just
And then honestly, I think the inroad for me of like, well, it's just like, okay, well, it does this person that's like claiming, wild theory or whatever is like, do they stand to gain a bunch of money from selling the book, posing this wild theory? Yeah, okay. Then it's just kind of like this is a money making venture versus they, don't really like it's harder to take them as seriously as where it's just like they don't really give a shit if they're looked at as, incorrect would be the nicest way of putting it. You know, they just want to make a buck.
And I don't know, things like that have surrounded the Kennedys for a while though. And you got what was it,
Yeah.
Robert that was also another woman that was assassinated? Was it him?
Mhm.
And
Stop the Kennedys.
but first off, one thing I do believe, I will say, is I don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I definitely think there's just so much about the JFK assassination that don't line up with like the official report. Like there's a guy that's in, I don't remember if it's in the video or one of the photographs. He's in one of them. Nobody's able to find him or identify him. He's never been identified. And he's standing around. He's kind of dressed like a Fed with like the suit and the overcoat and all that stuff. Some people say the CIA wanted him dead, and like anything, which makes it believable, it all had to do with like, the military industrial complex and money. Like I think a lot of them wanted to get into Vietnam War and like, who had buddies that were military contractors that could make money off of that. And I think it also had something to do with like the Bay of Pigs that happened that didn't go over very well. It was something about invading and trying to overthrow Castro, basically because he was kind of wanting to stay out of all that. And like, we don't need to basically dive into another war. We
right.
To
jump even further off the tracks that we already jumped off of, like to make it more of a personal thing. Like, what age were you when you finally fully comprehended, like, oh, this is a real life human being I'm watching getting shot in the head? Like, this
you mean just the JFK footage?
Yeah, like where you finally like fully comprehended it. It's like, oh, that's a real person I'm seeing.
No, yeah, you're witnessing an actual murder.
Because like I remember, like I feel like we just grew up seeing it and just didn't like really like, it seems like you're watching a movie and then like I feel like I was in high school. I was like, oh wait, no, that's showing an actual human being. Like
that's basically a snuff film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really think of like a moment where I thought, but you do have those moments kind of thinking like that of like, this is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
This is
kind of,
well, and like for Oliver Stone's film, JFK, like that was, excuse me. That was actual footage that was used in the film.
I haven't seen it in forever, man. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Good old conspiracy theories, man. That's the other thing, though, too, about them. And we'll end with this one here. I feel like the higher the profile, the more the more counterpoints that can be thought up. You know what I mean? Like, I almost worked for this guy named Bill Deere. He's been on like a couple like shows. Like I think he popped up on A&E or one time or whatever. Just like he posed a conspiracy theory that OJ did not kill Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. That he thinks, or he firmly says that he has the evidence that points, but it's all really like.
Well, that's how most of these are. The people, the pushing it will say, "Oh, I've got the evidence," but it's still kind of like.
Well, his hearsay. Oh, I knew that was going to fall down eventually. Anyways, I'll fix that for the next one. But he thinks it's like that. Oh, it was OJ's son because they're roughly the same height, and then he thinks that like he made.
I've actually heard that one before. Yeah.
He thinks that well, he's pretty much led the charge on that conspiracy. So
and he gives you some reasoning that's like, okay,
Well, he thinks that like he made a pass at her and she said no, obviously because that's her stepson. But like in order for like to really make his motives for his son sound more convincing, I would say it would be more plausible if he wasn't as dismissive of like the stuff about OJ of like, well, OJ was never really like a violent person. Like there's records of multiple
Yeah.
police calls and like, well, there's records of that, Bill. Like it would almost I feel like your theory would hold more weight if you weren't just like like no, this makes more sense because ka-ching ka-ching.
There was one I'm trying to think of now. It was kind of like one of those like crazy chain events of history, and I forget what it was, but it was basically talking about what led to the OJ murder, and it was something completely unrelated. I'd have to try and find the video again, but it was like this happened, which led to this happening, which led to like it was like OJ getting drafted by the Buffalo Bills instead of this other team, where he moved here
Yeah.
instead of moving here where he was gonna go. Which had he done that, he probably wouldn't have met Nicole Brown Simpson and blah blah blah. And it was like, yeah,
It's back to the Charlie Day meme. I was just like, all right, man,
yeah.
come on, like that's just nuts. Yeah, needless to say, I did not get the job. Mainly because it was like he just basically wanted me to re-edit a documentary he already made, but just kind of like revive it. But then also, I guess like he did like he was just like I don't know how to describe it. He basically like studied me after he didn't telling me the story, just like to see
Yeah.
how much I was on board. And just like I was just kind of like, oh, all right. So like, what's the job? Like here, watch this, and read this, read this, and just like well, here's want me to make a documentary, a new documentary based with the footage you have of the documentary, and you're just like, let's like, just what do you want? You want just like some flashier transitions, like, and it's just weird. Needless to say, the meeting I had with a conspiracy theorist was a little weird.
I'm
And,
trying to do it now. It's the reason why did the Buffalo Bills get the first round draft? Because he went first overall in 1969.
Yeah. So what they're saying that it was like planned by the Illuminati or some shit?
I don't think it's so much that it was planned. This was just a guy pointing out, like, I guess, kind of like the butterfly effect. It's like
Okay.
crazy details that had like,
I see.
or like
For
little
him to,
details that had crazy consequences, like, yeah.
yeah, for them to, but
Like,
so
I don't think
kinda
he was trying to say there was some sort of conspiracy theory. I think it was
Yeah.
just like,
I mean, I get where they're going with that, I guess, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, well, he probably would have, married somebody else, and
who he then murdered. Yeah.
yeah, sadly. Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone, it's I feel like it's been about an hour-ish. I
That
remember that.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, everyone, follow us at Big Boys Pod Spots.
Please,
Yeah.
we'll dub this the conspiracy theory episode,
Yeah.
at least until we have another one where we dive more into this. Because now I'm going to look
Yeah.
more into conspiracy theories, and I'm going to be prepared.
Yeah, and
But
I think OJ's still on Twitter.
maybe is he still doing time for stealing what is allegedly his
No,
own?
he's been out for a minute, and he's been
Okay.
out. Yeah, he's on Twitter. It's
That's got to be interesting. Okay.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Checked out a few times, but I just can't. It's like it is the very definition of a guilty pleasure, and almost a lot of the times minus the pleasure. Yeah. Anyways, that's our episode for today, and we'll get ready to start shooting these out. We'll see if we can meet again next week. I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to. Maybe I'll have some other stuff I got to do. But either way,
Yeah,
we'll be able to start
we'll
shooting these
see.
out. All right, brother.
All right.
Stay alert. I guess it's a conspiracy
Stay
show.
frosty. Yeah.
Yeah, stay alert. Stay frosty.
Yeah.
Enjoy those steaks.
I will.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, the money that Big Pharma gave you for them.
Tasty money.
Well, how about that for a conspiracy episode, dear listener? Yes, mind-boggling indeed. Is your mind boggled from all the different conspiracies we hit? All the baits we clicked? Oh, yes. I hope we enjoyed that, conspiracy theorist. Listening to us dip our toes in conspiracies and then realizing I know nothing about most of them. Such is what happens the older you get. The less time you have for frivolous theories that, well, frankly, I personally feel don't really add much to the value of your life. That's just my thought. It's just the old brag guy thinking out loud. You know what? And I take back the beef I started in this episode with conspiracy theorists. I want no beef with you peeps. I don't have enough time in my hands for that beef. Call me chicken if you will. But don't be coming at me with that pork and beans. Yes, we rifled through all of them. I don't think we left one on the table. We hit up OJ. We hit up JFK. And damn near every letter of the alphabet of conspiracies. We talked about it. And maybe we'll revisit them later, but for now I think that's a good stopping point, until we find out some ones that are, more worthy of talking. For this show ain't all about the conspiracies, yo. We might dive in every once in a while. But once we cough up that salt water, it's time for us to move on to different subjects. With that said, oh, you wacky conspiracy theorists, do indeed hit us up at bigboyspodspot.com, leave a message. John will look into whatever you want him to look into. I don't know. It's his thing. He's got to do stuff. So make him do stuff. That's what I say. That's the summary of this episode, and this conclusion here is I want you people to make John do things. Motivate the man. Get him out of his shell, out of his box. Out of his box of shells. And with closing, I'd like to say as always, Como se llama hermana? Lo siento palapinto. Good night, all my North Texans, and farewell, all my Los Angelinos, and everyone in between. You know what I mean. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good week, and we'll see you next time on the Big Boys Podcast.
Big Boys is a podcast produced by Not So Funny or Proud Productions. The team consists of co-hosts, co-producers, and co-editors Brian Hickey and John Sorrells, better known as John the Great. For more information about the duo or this show, please visit us at bigboyspodspot.com, or feel free to take a gander at our production page, notsofunnyorproud.com. Look us up on social media and follow us at Big Boys Podspot. New episodes drop every Thursday on every popular podcast hosting platform known to man. So please be sure to like, subscribe, vibe, describe, contrive, confide, collide, abide, preside, tell your tribe, and most importantly, do prescribe. Me an elixir for talking out the side of my neck.